I think it's a terrible idea. Cities that charging for parking happens, certainly not everywhere. I think that the city it would make sense for the city to work to earn visitors by making the city more beautiful. The businesses that are here are hoping for customers to come. The city doesn't do too much to beautify or encourage or promote. I have personally spent this year probably 20 hours because I knew that there was some interest in the Mary's Fireproof Hotel, because I'm interested in the area of the State Theater that's part of our city. For the last couple of years, I've reduced the height of the weeds in those two parking lots that have been mentioned. They're pretty good right now. I've been about a month since I've been there, but they would be trees. If I hadn't been there, I'm not aware of the city doing anything there. If the city has, I haven't seen it. There have been questions asked about where the city lots are. I think a list has been asked for. I've not seen that happen. I'm aware generally of where they are, so that's not my question of the day. But I think encouraging visitors is our main game. If the visitors come and we find we're lacking parking, then maybe we can get to the point of getting some compensation for it.
Where do you get that data from?
My general data, I'm
saying, where do you get the data that you're speaking of, that you're saying that no people come from out of town here?
I don't believe I said no people come from out of town.
So you're saying we're not attracting people. So what is the basis of you saying it's a terrible idea? What statistics are you using to say that? Because you sit on the downtown DDA, I think.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
and I do care about this city.
I'm not saying care, I'm saying where's your data?
I don't have statistics. I didn't come with a library of statistics. I come with my observations, which are extensive, and my efforts, which I'm making a point of now, is my goal is to make the city inviting. My wife and I have planted flowers at the entrance to the city on the west. I've thinned the weeds at Ox Creek, where I consider that a welcome or entrance to the city from the east. I've seen a little bit of improvement in the city mowing of that area where it's been pretty much not visible in the past. But I've done a lot to do that, and I'm not here for me. I'm here saying, let's work toward improving our city. Let's not start by revenue extraction from visitors. Let's make our city welcoming. On the topic of, I guess, stats, which I don't have, even though I've asked for, what the revenue intake is for Gene Clark Park, where I observe as recently as this morning that there is very, very little evidence of expense going into maintaining many key areas of the park. I've relayed my concerns more than once to the city for areas where there are maybe hazards. One would be part of a playground equipment that is broken, and right now the moving piece is trapped up high on the playground equipment, but for the last 5 years, it's just been a loose thing that could take off a hand. It's serious concern of I have. There are areas of asphalt where the sand is gone from below, and I've been trying to return cones to that area to market.
Appreciate it.
Things that should be done that are not being done well. There was an effort to put some sand under this undermined area, I'll call it, but sand is just movable flow. It needs to be something more serious than that. There's, I guess, other evidence of lack of maintenance there was a roof put on. I think it was an insurance job. I've asked, I don't really know. I know what the expense was, $22,000 some, but the roof deck was not repaired when that roof was put on. There's puddling in the roof in that area. The deck is rotting.
All right, let's stick to the parking, please.
Okay, that's revenuing and the lack of
No,
actual
we're talking about parking.
parking. We collect for parking at Gene Clark Park. We do not use the money for the purpose of maintenance.
You saying we misuse the money?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
So
saying,
What are you saying?
I said there's no evidence of use of money
Okay.
that apparently is received from the paid parking system there. So I think a system works if it works. That's evidence. The Gene Clock evidence or examples I've given are a system that doesn't work. I guess I'll leave it at that.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. City manager, could you speak to that, please? Well, no, please, because I mean, you know,
Well, basically, I'll start by saying, for those who pay close attention to the city, when we approved the city's budget this year, it had a surplus of $41 and I believe 44 cents. And that was budgeting for the level of what was already being done. It doesn't leave much room for doing other things. Everything costs money. We are actually behind the 8 ball on this. We should have started doing this almost at least a year ago, if not more. These lots are getting used fully. They're turning over, like these lots next to the marijuana businesses. They're turning over 4, 5, and 6 times a day with people coming and going. There's no issue there, but the lots and improving them will help to improve the appearance of downtown. It will help to make downtown more inviting, and it will also give us revenue to start doing the kinds of things that you're talking about. Just because there was some money budgeted and for parking at Gene Clark Park last year did not mean that all of the things that you're talking about that needed to be fixed were included in it. We're still trying to get revenues to do many of these things. And the other thing I think people have to realize is that any particular problem that someone focuses on is just one of many. And these, just as you said, 4 or 5 years, it didn't occur just yesterday. It's going to take a little while to get these things corrected. And it's going to take money to be able to do that. Now, with the revenue that we expect to receive from these parking lots, we're going to upgrade them. Some we're going to be moving to restripe, where it's going to take more money than we'll get from this revenue, but we will begin to put low-level lighting on them to make them more safer and more attractive. Some kind of shrubbery and whatnot to make them look nice, so they become additions to downtown as opposed to just pieces that are there. We right now have, as one person mentioned, we've got the monuments project that's going to be coming online by the end of the year. Tomorrow evening, the Cornerstones Alley project opens up and becomes live. The social district in the next couple of weeks or so should come online. We've got one business that's moving into the building on the front there near Cornerstone that's asking for 14 spaces. The new hotel project, the people who contacted us asking for 100 spaces.
What a point of order. You're saying all this is happening downtown?
That's correct. That's correct.
They want 100 spaces downtown. Like, no, can you speak to that? They want 100 spaces.
They want 100 spaces, and I've been in downtown in the vicinity of the old House of David Hotel that's going to be upgraded and put back online. And I've indicated to them that we'll do what we can to make certain that when they need those spaces, they'll be there.
Now, city manager, I know it's been a long day. but are you sure?
Teetotally positive.
All right, thank you. Dr. Times.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The main thing of any city using the models of Grand Rapids, the second largest city in Michigan, using Detroit as the first largest city in Michigan, and the model of Coleman and Young, that there were areas where there was parking to stimulate business, and then when the business clientele exceeded capacity, there was parking allowed in structures built that generated income for the city. But the premise that I can speak in terms of Coleman Young, as being able to be exposed to Coleman Young, was that you first create a need, a demand, and when that is exceeded, then you can regulate and put a structure there to generate, and you provide a service where when they park in these areas, that this was a secure area, so they didn't have to worry about their parking. So first they had the structure, first they had the lot there. It was utilized to support businesses. Right now, I think what the developer was saying is that the amount of business that is coming in and the amount of clientele that's coming in does not exceed capacity. And I think it's going to be a great idea that once we exceed capacity, having a structure there where there will be some secure parking, that aspect. Then from the Grand Rapids model, what happens in Grand Rapids is that they encourage business by, if you use one of the parking structures and you patronize a business, then you're valeted and that parking is free because you spent your money with that business. So I think if we have a mindset of a working relationship with business and also pulled in to generate, these two collaboratives can work together. So we need to build a city. We need to encourage business and development, but in a positive relationship, not an antagonistic, and not also an exploitative relationship. The historical data, when we look at the data statistics, we see that Atlantic City, being a predominantly African-American city, was taken over through the gentrification. We see that the parts of Harlem were taken over through the gentrification. We see that downtown Riverfront was done that way. So there is a direct concern where there's an exploitative history that individuals are trying to protect against and make sure that the citizens benefit. So I think it's a positive step. I think a transition to make sure that if we gonna charge for something, that we provide something, that we have that balance. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Times, for that point of history and clarity.
Thank you,
Please
Dr.
state your
Time,
name.
for that. My name is Samuel Williams. I just live over at 114 North McCoy. And I'm talking about some issues that should be brought up.
Well, right now we're talking about parking.
Parking, if you don't have the people that can pay for the parking, then you don't have the money to pay for the parking, then how you talking about parking? So we're talking about money to bring into the city that pay for some of these the items that you're talking about on your list.
So what do you want to, go ahead, you can talk.
All right. Now, on our cards, on people cards, they say, come in, we'll pay your bill. The government say we'll pay your bill. Bring your card in, we'll pay the bill. Water, gas, electric, things in that manner, correct?
No, I don't know what you're speaking of. Could you please speak to it?
All right. Do I need to speak a
No,
little
I'm
loud?
saying, you said a card that you bring in.
Right. They government have cards that says that they will pay your utilities, correct?
Yeah.
No. You don't have that? Your grandmother don't have it? Your mother don't have it?
I don't know what you're speaking of, sir.
Okay. Let me go in my pocket and show you. Because I can go over there and pay my electric bill.
Is this related to parking?
It relate to money, the funding that come into the city. That riddles relate
What
to.
card is it?
And
What
then-
card is it? You talking about something else?
I'm talking about everything that you talking about. We talking about money, correct? If you talking about bringing money into the city, if you- we talking about the parking structure. Without the money, you cannot have no funding for parking structure.
All right, but do me a favor. And I'm not being insensitive. I'm asking a question. We're
I'm
talking
trying to
about-
answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Make your second question, because I answered the first one. If it's the same question, then I relate to the
No,
same
no,
thing.
what I'm asking you is, what do you, we're talking about parking.
I'm talking about economics. I'm talking about money. What are you talking about? Without the money, you don't have parking. Without the people spending money, you don't have any money to make the parking available to them.
Okay.
So, wait, I think he's, I don't know what you're doing. I realize what he's saying.
No. There's no realizing nothing right this.
There's no debate here. We're talking about economics, correct?
No. What we're gonna do is, when the public comments come, we're gonna be the first one to speak. And we're gonna give you the longest you need to speak.
I don't need that long, but I'll be here to speak.
Please, thank you. Do I have consensus to move this forward on the parking? Commissioner, Mr. Duncan had his hand up first, and Commissioner Henry. He said ladies first.
Thank you.
Commissioner, can you please step by the mic so we can keep it on the record?
I need to know where the parking lots that we're speaking to put the
Can
kiosk.
you please tell what the parking lots we're speaking of?
It will be the city-owned lot that's on Water Street behind Novo. The city-owned lot that's on Territorial off of Sixth. The half of the lot that's city-owned off of Sixth, that's also on Territorial. So there's two lots over here. And, we own half of it and, the fire company owns the other half.
Yeah.
And then the other two lots will be the lot next to the block, right there where the ATM is, that lot. And then the city-owned lot that's between the two buildings off of Main Street. And I think that's it, Mr. Little.
That's it for now.
I think that's perfect.
Okay.
You know, and I'm gonna say this real quick before you can go. On 4/20, y'all know that date, April, is it 4/20? Y'all, anybody know what 4/20 is?
No, we don't know. Will you tell us?
4/20, you had over 10,000 people from Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, all over the country that were parking out there.
Yeah.
Pride Fest, you had 5,000 people that came. It was downtown Benton Harbor that were parked everywhere. And thank you, Mr. Duncan, and anywhere. Just imagine if you could have got $1 a car. And now we're talking about you're against people coming to the community. They're coming and they spending $500 and $600. So you telling me $1 to the city is something wrong? Maybe we just messed up. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, if somebody can't, if you can spend $600 in a place that can't give $1.
You know what?
The place that you spending $600 with should be free parking.
You know what, Chair? You just, when you get opinionated, you just keep
I'm sorry.
verbalating until everybody believe what you said. But I really want to say what I want to say about this project.
You gotta
Okay.
Quit treating me like you're my babysitter.
Okay. Well, I just have to stop you so you won't treat me like I'm an old lady. Okay, so I got 3 locations. It's fine with me. It's got to start somewhere. My other question will be is to always put my human infrastructure in it. Now, is this going to be able to create jobs for Benton Harbor residents? is it gonna be another burden to come downtown in our own city to park because we can't afford to pay parking? What kind of consideration are we gonna give our human infrastructure in this parking thing? We did a great job at Gene Clark Park, and I would like to see some of those same practices in downtown Benton Harbor.
Director Clark, can you tell me how many people that you see on a daily basis with license that are from outside Benton Harbor that come here daily? This is broad spectrum.
See, you changed it. That's not my question. That didn't have
You
nothing to
said
do.
relief for our people.
Yeah, I'm talking about Benton Harbor residents.
But what I'm saying is a lot of people that are
I am
coming.
not talking about them. I'm talking about us. So you can talk about all the visitors that fall through the back candy, whatever I'm talking about us, our people.
You have the floor.
We can set our system up to do the same thing it does at Gene Clark Park.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Mr. Duncan,
I want to thank all you guys for the things that you're doing. I like your question and your reasoning too. We all have a chance to get this right now, but we're addressing your plan. And I think it's a great plan. And I think that as we work on this plan, we should be working on the plan of getting those parking meters throughout the city, downtown, which was my plan from the beginning. I appreciate you guys just for even having man, I got to a bad spot right there. Having the initiative to even start this. You got all these companies. What I like their plans too. I'm glad they're coming, but I think our parking is going to generate enough money to help our city out. And I, as a citizen, don't understand why it has taken so long for us to even get on even this page. But keep up the good work and don't stop. And whoever comes here that don't want to pay parking, they can keep going. As far as a citizen like myself is concerned, and I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else. Thanks for
I
the time.
appreciate that, Mr. Duncan. That was very enlightening. This young man has the floor, Mr. Samuel Williams.
Yes, Mr. Duncan did speak about the parking. Now, the people came in from what time point, and then they left at what time point? And then you're gonna keep the meters up there, and when people park again, our people, that's like Sister was talking about, is the meter gonna is the meter gonna have to be fed, continue to be fed? Or when the people come in out of state, all these people that you're talking about that comes in from out of state, then what happens when they leave? They're gonna come in at a certain period, then they're gonna leave at a certain period. And now, is the meter gonna have to continue to be fed or what? Enlighten me.
So what happens is, now I'll give you, for instance, I was in Denver, Colorado. I went from Denver to Chicago, no, Atlanta. I went from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. All of them have paid parking. So what happens is you go to the machine, you put in 50 cents.
I know how it works. I'm just asking.
No. And then you put a receipt on your dashboard, right? Then when you leave with your receipt. The next person that comes to park, they put a receipt.
That's not what I'm asking.
What do you mean?
What I'm asking you is that.
No, it's a kiosk, it's not a meter.
All right, let me finish. Let me restate it again. The reason you're doing this, because the out-of-town people came in, there was a lot of people here, correct? That's what you said earlier. There was so many people that came in during this time period, and you thought you should get a revenue out of it while they're here, correct?
So Sir, I think if I may, Commissioner Henry had asked a similar question. So what, Mr. Little said is we have something in place for Jane Clark Park. So, if you're a resident of Benton Harbor and you go to Jane Clark Park, you don't have to pay. So Mr. Little's gonna look into some kind of system similar to Jane Clark Park for the residents.
I'm just getting back. So thank you for enlightening me. I'm glad you're listening.
Go ahead. You ever watched the movie called The Shack? Watch it tonight. You'll see what's going on.
I just,
Come on,
I just
can
need-
we,
I just need a little answer about the money. You give me some quotes here now. Is this, we're gonna get 2 machines, right? Is that money $960 annually times 2?
Yes,
Okay, so, and that includes for the 2 year, that's times 2 too.
yes.
Is that similar to what we have in Jean Clark Park?
Yes, that is the exact same.
The exact same thing. Thank you very much.
Lord have mercy. Appreciate you. Thank you. Do we have a concurrence to move this forward?
Yes, there's one point of clarity. I think this is a reinvestment so that the money that come in will help with maintenance of the structure itself as well as the kiosk. And I think that was a question that was on the table. And I think that was implied that that's going to be, this is going to be a self-sustaining project. Is that correct?
Yeah, self-sustaining. And also, we're gonna probably get somebody to run that and monitor that to make sure people are not parking without. This thing is wow.
This is the last one. As personnel and finance chair, I just want to know, where is the money coming from?
Okay.
Just expect great things.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
That's not funny.
Where's it coming from?
No,
Okay,
money-
we want
money-
to answer.
Money's coming
General
from
fund?
where?
Money will come from general
General
fund, and the money will go back to general fund.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your hard work on that, Director Clark, for that. And,
Motion to move forward.
we made a motion to move that forward. It's been carried. We're gonna move that forward. Now we're going to our agenda through our, my co-chair, the Hall Park Restoration Phase 1.
Hi. So all of you in the audience, if you have an agenda, there are a couple maps, plans in there you can look at. You all have a copy also? Okay,
Oh, do- yes, we do. I'm sorry.
okay, great. Could we
Can
put
you
it,
hand them a copy of it, please?
so I'm comfortable if they are, if they want to look at it live, if they stand by the table, is that okay with you?
You can hand them the whole thing. if you want.
So if you want to see it live, and you have a copy from here?
Yes, I see that.
Okay.
That's the reason I'm wearing glasses.
Okay, so I'm with Avonmarsh. I'm a landscape architect. I've been with Avonmarsh 31 years.
Get another one of those for our
Yeah.
citizen rep.
Hey, you wear glasses also?
So they should have some
Thank you.
11 by 17 ones too.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm a landscape architect. I've been with Avonmarsh 31 years. A lot of my background is in Park and Rec. It's very passionate to me. I served on the park board in St. Joseph for 18 years, and now I'm on the planning. So very similar, to all of you. Great passion for parks. And as you all know, Hall Park's a lovely park. It is, however, in need of some upgrades. And you were all very fortunate to receive a grant. And so we're here today to talk to you about some ideas of, in the phase one, the monies that were received for the grant. I'm gonna just pull out a little bit of the info. There was 958,000 grant amount in entirety. And so we have until 2026 to get everything executed. Mr. Little's been very involved. The park itself, there have been several get-togethers asking for community input. So hopefully all of you have had a chance to speak to what you'd like to see. Like I said, it's a lovely park. It's very dear to the community. And so here to present what the long-range restoration plan is, which if you have a packet, in your packet, it would be the sheet that would be listed as sheet 1 of 2. And then we'll talk about the phase 1 improvements. And so meeting with different people throughout the community, they ask people, what do you want to see there? They'd like to see restrooms, picnic pavilions. They'd like to see the basketball courts improved and renovated. There's very old playground equipment there. They'd like to see new playground equipment. Dane's going to talk to you in a minute about the existing trees. The trees are very important to people as well. The shade, the old oaks and maples and things that are there. So all of that encompasses what the want list is for the park to improve the entities that are there and at the same time maintain the beauty of the park that you have. Lots of beautiful open space, places for kids that can run around, passive places where you can sit and picnic. So it's all important. And not one is more important than the other. They're all equally important. But in phase 1, we had to look at what can we do first for the monies we have. So even though it's real important down the road to have a pavilion and things with the dollars that we have available, can't quite get all that in phase 1. So we're looking at what can we do for phase 1. The basketball courts, very important. Our group met with the class, the Benton Harbor basketball team. So they're really excited to have the courts upgraded. They told them they really like the courts at Broadway and they like the courts at Union Park. So we're looking at those courts in particular and how can we make these courts as attractive. So on the screen, you can kind of see the layout for the basketball courts. The consultant group that came in had kind of some wild design colors and things planned. Meeting with the basketball team and the coach, they're like, nah, we want something just a little more plain. So kind of got a packet of things I can pass around, but they want, basic colors, the blues, the greens, just basic colors of basketball, not anything that's all multicolored and vibrant. They want more of a subtle color scheme.
Question is that on the screen right there?
That's on the screen, but more than likely, so that color is just kind of a sienna color in there. They actually like, the greens or the blues. They're not fans of the tile surfacing. We're still looking into some options. They like the court system where it's more of a painted system that's kind of on top. So we're looking into that. Other things, if we look at the phase 1 plan, that's the phase 2 plan. So overall, we kind of mentioned, and let me just kind of go up here and guide you guys through. So in the top, before you go on, sorry. So in the upper top part, I'm not tall, but at the very top of the page, the blue kind of rectangle with a little bit of a circular look is proposed playground to be future. The pavilion is kind of just immediately down from that to this, just beyond it. That would be a pavilion area with a restroom. It's always nice to keep the restrooms close to where you have existing water. There are lots of reasons for that. If you put the restroom real internal to the park, you've got to cut down a lot of trees and things to get to it. Also, it's nice from a standpoint of public safety, being able to drive by and see restroom facilities. Always important to do that. So that's why they're kind of shown in those locations. You can kind of see the line of tables that are there. So if you're out at the park, you know those lines of tables you have currently. That's the location. It's level ground. That's where they're thinking about putting the pavilion and the lined area that's kind of rectangles would be paved surface. So you could have cornhole, you could have outdoor ping pong, you could have all kinds of in the future games or picnicking or whatever else is desired. That's not all determined now. This is just schematic planning for the future. And then the basketball court being in this location and be in the same location it is now. And then
Also, where the parents be able to see the children if they go to the restaurant. Okay, I'm just wondering if anything had changed.
yes, so the children and everything would definitely be still, if the pavilion is by the playgrounds very readily, and that's a good point. Playgrounds, your current playground is right by basketball. Not all basketball players, but some use a little bit of language that might not be something you want your 4-year-old child to pick up while they're at the playground. So, it is always good if you could separate those uses a little bit further apart. So that's kind of why the option with the playground up near the restroom and the pavilion was kind of something we were looking at. So this is the overall long range
So,
plan.
excuse me.
Yes.
I don't mean to break in, but you're killing me.
What?
What I'm asking you is that you went and talked to
Wait a
the
minute,
high.
whoa. We don't do that here, man.
I'm just asking a question.
Understood, but you got,
So if you let me kind of go
whoa,
through everything,
All right.
we'll go through it and then, yeah,
Listen, the presentation is being done.
Yeah.
After the presentation, then there's gonna be questions.
yeah.
So what we do here at City of Benton Harbor is that the chair gives you the floor. You have the
All right, I'm
floor.
gonna sit down and
No,
gonna let her
no,
finish.
not you. You don't have to sit down, you can stand right there.
You can stand there where you can see it, but
But what I'm saying is interaction goes through the chair,
yes,
just so we can keep some kind of decorum.
Yeah.
in our
I'm not trying to
No, you're not.
debate with her. I want to
No.
interact with her.
Yeah, after she gets
so
done.
let me finish the presentation and then what we really like to get is your input.
Yeah,
And
that's-
so let me just go through it and I'm
What's your
sorry
next?
I'm, not tall enough to quite,
Okay, forgive me for
Mr.
interrupting.
Duncan, hit the light again, please.
yeah.
Forgive me for interrupting you.
No, you're fine. It's no problem.
Me too.
So this is kind of the overall, there are other entities. There's also Ox Creek enhancement and things that's going on simultaneously. So that's not presented in here. That's another part of this, but it's going to be, part of other things exciting that are going on in this park. So, sorry, now you can go ahead and change it up to the phase 1. So again, what we said is there are lots of wish list items. So in the phase 1, you can't afford everything right off the bat. So what we did was try to come up with what was determined to be the initial, what we should do first, more or less, okay? And use the monies and then the other things would be the longer range future. It was determined that in the phase 1, the basketball is the rectangle here, that it would be great to get the basketball included in phase 1. Adjacent to the basketball, looking at like a terrace seating option, because you got a little bit of a hill there. There's a retaining wall that wraps around the side of it. Unfortunately, the existing retaining wall that's out there is in such a state of disrepair that it's been determined that it will have to be put in as new, that retaining wall that's right around the basketball really isn't in a state that it could be saved. So that's proposed for phase 1 and some terrace seating. So if you wanted to go out there and watch the game, you could sit on a seat wall and watch the game being played. Then starting up at Highland Avenue, you guys can all see that kind of gray colored path. So that path is 6 foot wide. We're still looking at what the materials might be, but it's leaning toward a paved surface, would be an accessible pavement that wheelchairs could wheel on. And then that path would go from Highland Avenue all the way in to the basketball court. So basically providing an accessible route to the basketball court. So all of the gray area you see would be part of phase 1 trail system. The loop trail that you see that makes it a loop that connects to the gray, that is an alternate. It's also 6 foot wide. It passes by some of the areas that are already existing, and makes a connective loop, so that if you were to want to go out there and walk, you could make a big loop all the way around the park. So that's kind of what we're trying to do in phase 1. There is an old stump and a foundation of a drinking fountain up near Highland, way at the top of the page. You can probably see it all on your papers. That would have to come out because we talked about how that area is the most level area. That's the area that the contractor needs to access the site to be able to build the basketball courts. Unfortunately, the existing playground equipment that's right next to the basketball, because meeting with the players and everything, they want, 6 foot of safe zone on each side, 10 foot in the middle. So based on orienting the basketball courts north-south, which is the desirable direction for basketball, the existing playground equipment, some of it would be within the court space, so it would have to be removed. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're looking at. Dane kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, he's assessed the trees out there, and you want to give a little synopsis of what the tree situation is?
Honorable Chair, can she at least give us a price figure as you go along with phase one,
Can he give us the trees, then give us the price?
as we go along?
Well, I mean, I don't want to start doing,
No, just
A la
round
carte.
about figures of 1, 2.
you don't have any figures?
Well, like we do, we're in the process of
Got
doing
it.
all the estimating. That's how we know that this is the amount that can be afforded. The overall grant that I mentioned is $958,000. That's the entire grant amount.
How much
That
you guys charging to do it?
I don't know, it's probably
Somewhere in that
you know,
range.
Mr. Little, what the, so the, some monies have already been allocated and spent, and invoiced, and it's the waterfront, the wetland survey, and there were some other design fees.
$900,000?
No, the $958,000 is the total grant amount that has to be spent by October of 2026. Beg your
What
pardon?
was spent?
Currently what is spent? Do you know,
You're
Mr.
looking at Mr. Little, you're doing a presentation.
Yes, so I'm the landscape architect there. I don't do the billing, so I apologize that I don't know that. I was asked to present the plans,
Okay, yeah,
which
yeah.
I think I know about, but I don't know about the billing, and so I don't want to give a wrong, I don't want to guess.
Okay,
So
thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I didn't
Oh,
realize,
you're all right, you're good.
yeah, that was something.
That question came from,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
we can, I mean, if that's, if you need that.
When we get the trees,
we can get it for you.
time, go to the shop clock.
Yeah.
So my name is Dane Rasmussen. I'm the Ox Creek project manager for the city. And this grant is a GNR Spark grant, and we are on the clock. That's why we're here today giving this presentation. We're on the clock to get contractors by the end of this year. So we have to move this, get this plan moving forward. Otherwise, we got problems with the grant. Like she mentioned, the end of the grant is 2026. So in the next 18 months, Hall Park is going to have a new basketball court. It's going to have some new trails. It's going to have some new lights. It's going to start that new facelift. The almost $1 million surprisingly doesn't go far, because when you get big machines, big contractors coming in to do this major work, it goes pretty quickly. So we can't do everything. But the first image, if you mind pulling up that first image, this was important to me. Hall Park has very significant historic value to the citizens here, to the city, to the region. And so it was important to me that Avonmarsh and the city had a good idea of where we're going in the future. Even if it's not set in stone, we wanted to make sure that we had somewhat of a plan so we weren't shooting ourselves in the foot, putting something in the wrong place and having to undo it later. So what you're seeing in this image is an idea that's based off of public input for multiple events. We will have more public input events for future phases. So yes, we'll take some feedback here today, but there will be plenty of opportunities later for that. You guys wanted me to talk about trees. So there's some awesome historic trees in Hall Park. I'm a certified arborist. I've been doing tree work for over 12 years. So when I go in that park, I see these massive oak trees and I want to keep them all. Unfortunately, some of them are diseased, some of them are hazardous. There are a few that are dead. So I'm working through a plan with Avonmarsh and with DPW to eliminate the hazardous trees, to make it a safer park, to preserve the historic trees that can be preserved, and to establish replacement trees so that we can continue to have a beautiful park with awesome, massive trees. We had an event 2 weeks ago. It was a wellness event in the park, and it was a beautiful day, but it was pushing 85 in the sun, and everybody that was in the park at the event was staying nice and cool under those beautiful shade trees. So we do want to keep that. If we go to the phase 1 image, with the trails, if you've been to Hall Park, you know that there's some really cool historic retaining walls and stonework. We'd like to keep as much of that as possible, as long as it's safe and can be maintained. Some of it is falling apart, some of it is degraded, and so what can be kept will be kept. What can't will get upgraded or replaced. The specific trees, they're not in this image anymore, but there's 2 trees that are right in that gray triangle that are dead. Those are going away in December probably. So those will be gone, and then that's going to make a really nice sledding hill for the kids. So I'm really excited to have some programming in the park year round, get some more amenities there. She mentioned that we're going to have to pull out some of the existing playground equipment. There's hardly anything there. There's one little climbing apparatus, and there's some swings, and they're pretty, degraded. They're going to be pulled out because we need the space, but they'll be implemented in the future phases. So we don't like to take away those amenities, but it's a necessity. What else was I going to say? Yeah, she mentioned the wetland delineation, so that's a necessary step for the grant process. And in order to streamline phase 1, we're doing all of the work outside of that wetland space. If we were to do work in the wetland space, it makes it very messy. It costs a lot more, and that $1 million doesn't go very far. So for phase 1, everything is outside of that flood zone. It'll make things a lot easier. You'll notice that the historic baseball field is not in the picture right now. We are going to do everything we can to bring that baseball field back online. I was talking with Eagle today to try and figure out what permits do we need, how do we do it, what are the hoops we got to jump through to make sure that can be preserved, because I understand how important that is to the community and the history of the region. So is that anything
Thank
you
you.
want to jump on?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Little has the floor.
Just as a reminder, and this was, the plan for redoing Hall Park was first presented almost 3 years ago now. The total plan was $3.5 million. And that's what we actually applied for. We just didn't get it all. We're gonna have to do it in phases. We got 1 million, we're gonna do the first part. We'll keep going, we get additional money, we'll go on to the other parts.
Thank you, Mr. Little. I do appreciate it. Mr. Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Now, you said you looked at Union Park and all the other parks. You talked to the high school basketball team. Why reinvent the wheel? What about the kids that's disabled? We got Mr. Little also been looking at recycling tires. We need to have a playground for the kids that's disabled. This is a different part from over there. And this part can be able to bring St. Joe over here and different other communities over here. But what you insinuating is that you just gonna continue to reinvent the wheel. You want to talk to the high school kids about, they don't even play over there. We have the local kids that play over there. And then we have the other parks that's closer to the high school that they play at. Now, this area that you're speaking of is a unique area. So we should have a unique park. We should have a park where disabled kids can come over there and with their family and then their kids and, come over there and have a different park, different from the other side of the city.
So the long range, again, like I said, the monies, you can only spend so much currently. There's only so much available. And as mentioned, the 3 years ago, the price was 3.5 million. I would venture to say if that same
You've been thinking
amount
about,
of items were bid on today, it would be way more than 3.5 million. Totally agree with you. It's very important. All playgrounds should have accessibility. The long range, the long range plan is to have a playground that would meet
you have to,
accessibility.
he's working on the recycling tires. You recycle the tires and you put things over there for the disabled kids in the park. Okay,
So the recycled tires, so,
I'm adding that in
Yes.
there. That's not
So-
part of yours.
right, so
But I know
the,
Mr. Little is working on that as well.
yes, so the
So-
recycled tires, so there are products that, are considered ADA accessible. There's, something that looks like a mulch, but it's not just a shredded bark. It's, engineered wood fiber. There's those products, there's rubber pieces that are all the same, that are ADA accessible. So there's lots of options. And those will all be considered in the future when the playground is designed and developed. And it certainly will meet, you're supposed to, when you build in a public space, you're supposed to meet or exceed ADA.
Okay, all right.
So it
I
won't be
listened
that
to you.
ADA is not
I
considered. It's
listened to
very
you.
dear
If
to
I
have.
may, please,
What you were saying, young
we're
lady.
gonna take note of your
Yeah.
input, sir.
Yes.
I'll take note of your input.
Okay, all right, because
Because
she's been
that
looking
is
at it,
doing what?
y'all been looking at it for 3 years. I've been looking at it for all my life. I done been here and came back and I'm here again.
Okay.
And now, like he said, he done been to New York, Chicago, Illinois, and Virginia, and everywhere else he been.
Thank
But
you, sir.
these
I
are other
appreciate
things,
you.
these are other things that park is a unique park. That park should be set up differently than the other park. Okay, I understand they want to talk about the basketball, because on Sundays that the older people go out there and shoot hoop, and then they had their little barbecue grills over there. But the public works don't even go out there and pick up the trash on the weekend.
These things
You
will
just go
change.
over, let me finish, Mr. Little. I respect you. I worked for you at one time and another. I respect you highly. But when you go over there on the weekend, that trash is not picked up. And then majority of the community going over there to that park on the weekend. And then it got trash everywhere. So I understand what you're saying. I feel about that park. And we'll talk again about the outlet.
Well, listen now, go ahead.
So I really appreciate when citizens come with these great comments. So Mr. Little has taken note of the trash, and then we'll address that. We are hearing you, and I love your comments about the disabled youth. That's wonderful. And so now they have taken note of that comment. So when we get to that other phase, we should be able to implement that.
But that basketball issue should not be the first issue. Issue should be about the
So if I'm understanding correctly, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, they've had meetings with different citizens in the community, and the feedback was that's what was important. So what they've done is they've taken that feedback and they've presented us with, okay, based on your feedback, this is what the citizens wanted. So I know it's unfortunate that I'm assuming you weren't a part of those meetings where you said you had moved away for a while.
I'm
or-
back.
Yeah, so now you're back, so now we have your feedback and we appreciate it. But at the time when they were getting feedback, unfortunately, you were not here. And so they've taken that feedback and they've made these phases. And so now that you've given us your great feedback, what we're doing is we're taking notes. And now Mr. Little knows about the trash, and now they know about your comments on the disabled youth options.
And bring the other
Can
cities
my
over.
concerns be heard now?
Here.
Thank you, Commissioner Warren. You have the floor, Commissioner Mary Alice Isom.
Thank you.
Could you please come forward?
Stop.
I'm sorry, Mary Alice
Mary Alice is
Adams.
fine. Mary Alice is fine, okay.
I'm sorry.
So-
I'm so sorry.
So this has been going on for a long time, more than 3 years. And I'm just glad to see that it's finally moving forward, that we've able to secure some money, because I think it was like, what, 20 years ago, that there was like some millions that never came to fruition to start this project. Not only that, I have a lot to say because I watched 20 million that the Kroc family left to be doing some type of development down here by the YMCA. So if we're not paying attention and asking all the right questions, things will disappear and just go away. I grew up in Ben Harbor. I used to slide down the hill. It was fun. Down on the other end where the diamond is, I'm hoping that they can be saved and utilized because there was a lot of land. There was like not a pavilion, well, a pavilion with restrooms and where we kept our balls and bats and everything, and slid down the hill right there up from that area. But if the playground is going to be moved now that's another, okay, we'll get to that. My question is, and it's not actually a question, it's actually a statement. Because for some of the work that I'm seeing in our community, that's unacceptable, looking like we're being played like a piano, with the street work. Don't want to see the park looking like that. Totally unacceptable. We got to stop settling for less. We got these Justice 40 funds for underserved communities of color, and that's what it's for initiating and rebuilding, revitalizing things like that. We have 2 more people in our planned economic development office. We put forth funding for community engagement specialists. I mean, come on. And then our hub has all of the technical support we need, including the energy department. They have technical support for our people that we have that may need help. I mean, I'm not the expert, so when they feel, I don't know, but we can't miss the mark, and I just want to see this thing moving forward. I'm glad that I got a chance to hear you say that you haven't gotten to the other part over on the side of Pops Creek. We're on this side of the park now. Okay. Okay.
And again, as Dane said, the overall plan, that's like considered future, it's just an idea right now.
Yeah.
But it is important that if you don't have some idea, and if you don't have some idea, then you start putting trails and different things in,
Yeah.
and then you realize, oh, I didn't put that in the right spot. Now I need to rip part
Okay,
of it
but
out,
I
and
was
it's
in-
wasting money.
I was in on the initial
Yeah.
phase of putting this thing
Yeah.
together, and to hear now that, wow, at the playground, as long as the playground is accessible for any family members
Yeah.
that may have children at the pavilion, that they're in sight.
Yes, so
Yeah,
the long range plan is to definitely have a playground located very close to the pavilion. The long range plan, the exact location and the kind of playground equipment, that'll all be determined in the future, and hopefully everyone can be a part of it.
okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
One more thing. I do like
No,
what
whoa,
you said
whoa,
about the
whoa,
baseball
whoa,
field.
whoa, man. You have a commissioner had a hand up before you go. Henry, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I have to say this, our parks have been greatly improved. But there's a part of our population that are getting left out. And they are the very young, the toddlers, and preteens. They're getting left out. Every park except Union Park. And they're out there with programs. And that's what's making that group have something to do. But Broadway Park was a toddler park. It was for toddlers. And then they gradually pulled it into a teenager or a young youth
What about Mayor Hightower Park?
What?
The park across from Mayor Hightower's house.
That is a toddler park.
That's a toddler park there.
But now, if you gotta go, if you really wanna just want some data, look at our census and you'll see what group I'm talking about and how large they are. So they're not the squeaky wheel, because they're not at those meetings. And I don't know if their parents was there or not or what, but that's something that we have to look at, because there is no advocate for those young kids.
What is the park before you go down the hill there on Britain? What's the name of that park?
The one that has nothing in it, danger, that's what you call it, danger, run.
Thank you. All right, well, we're moving this forward. Thank you very much. It's gone.
No, don't we have more time for comments?
Right.
I got a comment I'd like to
A
make.
couple more days or something? Do we?
I think everybody has spoken on this issue.
I have it. I'd
What I
like to
would
say
do,
something too.
Mr. Duncan, after Mr. Duncan, what I'll do is we can hold a special meeting with you guys. I mean, we should hold some public participation or whatever, and put something up on the board and let people draw what they want on the thing.
Is this it? This is it.
Right. Mr. Duncan, please.
The kids need wheelchair accessory out there.
She spoke on that.
Wheelchair accessories, and one of the first things I asked about was areas where chess boards and chess pieces could be put up. You guys,
But listen,
all we talked about is basketball, and I got the floor, you gave it to me? Did you give me the floor?
Mr. Duncan, I'm not
I'm
cutting,
finished then, because you're gonna cut me off in the middle of my conversation.
no, I'm not cutting you off.
She gonna
Sidewalk,
give
they
you
will see.
that.
No.
I wasn't finished talking, whenever you guys get through talking.
Listen, y'all,
You do
But-
citizens like this all the time, man.
no, it's not your fault. I'm not talking to you right now.
You cut me off.
I've been doing this for 14 years, and y'all know how I run a meeting.
Yeah, I
Do me
do.
a-
That's
No,
my
wait a
problem.
second, Mr. Duncan, you're in the right. But I'm gonna tell Abermarsh and everybody else, this is not an interaction with the crowd. When the crowd speaks, then somebody else has the floor. We don't go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That does not happen. When they bring a question to the chair, then we relinquish back the floor to whoever's next. So right at this moment, Mr. Duncan has the floor. Nobody else. Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
Whatever the plan is, can you make that happen?
Yes, sir.
Because that's more important than any basketball court, any baseball field, or any of that, which is everybody else's focus. And I understand that and why. I also would like to know if those trails are gonna be able where old bike riders could use them like trails and ride around. And I'm finished.
Thank you,
That's all I
Mr.
had to
Duncan.
add.
I will yield the floor, but these statements now are the last on this issue. Because this is not something etched in stone, it has to go before the body. This is only phase one of a total process. And we can be here till 11 o'clock talking about speculation.
That's all, that's basically what I wanted to reiterate. The purpose of this presentation is phase one. These are the things that we have received public input on numerous occasions, that this was the first priority, having an ADA accessible trail, what you were asking for, and to have the basketball courts facelift. That's what was requested by the citizens. We had numerous children come and give their input of various ages. We had numerous parents show up. We had business owners, we had commissioners. So we had a pretty good sample. We felt confident that it was a fair assessment of what those neighborhoods and the people of the city at large want. There will be more opportunities for the future phases for input. I highly encourage you to keep your ear out to Facebook and the city's website. to find out when those events are, and please come, we want to hear those ideas.
Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Little.
Yes, sir. That pretty much concludes the input on this. We've heard what you've said. We'll take it into consideration and see to it that we incorporate these concerns into what we do. It's very important that our planning for these parks be able to take care of everybody from baby age to 85. You know, and if necessary beyond. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Little, and thank you for everybody's input. I do appreciate the presentations, appreciate the citizen input. Now we have, on the agenda, the proposal for a cigar shop with a liquor license, by, I believe it's Shoreline Sticks.
Jerry Smith.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to say thanks for having me and allowing me to make this presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, what I'm here to propose and present to you is an idea of bringing a high-end cigar lounge to downtown Benton Harbor. I purchased a property over 120 Water Street. I would like to continue the development, and I'm in need of some assistance from the city with the application process to the state for the liquor license. Now, you know, part of this thing is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with cigar lounges or not, especially the high-end ones. This is one where the only thing that's in there are cigars. There's no cigarettes, there's no marijuana, there's no vaping. It's just cigar lounges. You know, I've traveled a little bit and seen some different ones, and I tried to take some of the pieces of those and bring it back here. And what I'm really trying to create is like a destination location for the Benton Harbor area. I mean, our proximity to the golf course, for the summer crowd, to capture some of those visitors, to give those visitors a reason to come, an additional reason to come to the city. And then also in the off season, I mean, in Michigan, if you're a cigar smoker, you can smoke outside. However, come the winter season, right, we have a location to go to. Because right now in the winter season, I'm not allowed to smoke in the house. I have to drive. The nearest one, you're talking, I'm in Maryville, South Bend, those locations. There's a small shop that just opened up recently in St. Joe, but it's small, it's very small. It's nothing like what I'm proposing and then proposing to bring here, which is an actual destination lounge, right? Where smokers can come and enjoy themselves, socialize, have those conversations, and just a lot of those conversations are just, you know, it's like golfers and those individuals, that commonality. My wife and I are going to be the primary owners. We have some additional investors. Golding is one of those investors. So I'm also looking for some other investors as well. But we've already started the financial piece of this thing, and it has been extremely well received by the bank, different financing bodies. So I don't think that's an issue. You know, my only issue is making this project work, making the numbers work. And the liquor license piece is a huge piece to making these numbers work. I'm not sure, you have the presentation in front of you as well. Like I said, total investment, by the time this project is done, it's gonna be right around $1 million. You know, I think getting that property on the city's tax roll will be a huge win for the city, creating that revenue we're talking about, utilizing those parking spaces that you're creating, giving individuals a reason to actually, you know, come here, and an additional reason. Because I think there's multiple reasons they're already coming to the city. I mean, they're already here. It's just an additional reason, another reason to go. I already secured the cigar license from the state of Michigan. So that piece is in place. And that was a huge piece because there's only a limited number of licenses in the state, period. Those things are becoming scarcer and scarcer to have. So getting that piece secured was the first piece of the puzzle, in addition to the property and location. I think the location is outstanding. Like I said again, the proximity to the golf course downtown, the walkability. Now you have more of the whirlpool. I mean, it's accessible. You know, it's absolutely really accessible to any and all. And I think what you will find amongst most cigar smokers, the interaction is diverse. You know, it crosses all cultures. I mean, black, white, yellow, they come together, they enjoy the conversation, they enjoy the experience. And the goal is to absolutely give them an enjoyable experience. And another reason, when they come to town again in the summers, they come back again. And if you notice, I'm not touching on every one of those bullet points. I'm just trying to touch on a few of them. And actually, I get, given what I put in front of you, and when I was just presenting, I mean, that's the crux of it. That's the meat and potatoes of it.
Thank you. This is meat and potato night. City Manager Alex Little.
I would like to say, as both your Economic Development Director and City Manager, that this is a project that I wholeheartedly support. I didn't know a lot about this until about a year and a half ago. I happened to be with a group of golfers from here, and we were in Oxford, Mississippi, at a festival they had. When the festival ended, we happened to be standing in front of the kind of establishment he's talking about here, a cigar operation. We went in, and I was really quite surprised. Wall of humidors along here, big soft leather seats, and people just sat in and smoked and whatnot, and it was just a nice, relaxing atmosphere. And I frankly just didn't even have any idea that people would invest the kind of money and whatnot and just relaxing like that and doing it. And I think it would be a real plus for the city to have something like this here.
Commissioner Warren.
So regarding the liquor license, you're saying that's your highest priority. So the state is saying it is one available?
It's my understanding from the state of Michigan that the city has the ability to help trigger that process to create one for a special use type situation.
I was thinking it wasn't one available.
No, and see, and this is where it matters to us, right? It matters to me. We're talking about, like I said, $1 million. There's some out there in the open market, and they're just overpriced extremely, right?
We have the ability to do it.
Right. So my thing with this from the city is, with that assistance, it helps bring down the overall ticket on the building in the project. And for me, that's huge.
So if I might add to that, in terms of liquor license, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. So I might add to that on the liquor license. I mean, what we need is the city's approval to obtain the license, but the process for obtaining the license is still going to be the same. It's going to be, the rigorous state process to obtain that license, and Darien's going to have to make that application, go through the background checks and all the rest that need to be done on that. So really, it's basically just the city's okay for us to be able to do that. And then we have to go through that process, which I understand could take 4 to 6 months. So
Basically, we're going from cigars to some liquor.
We're selling both.
Both.
They go hand. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've been to a lounge before, right? The overall,
Basically, you open up a lounge now.
It is a cigar lounge.
So you're saying a lounge, and
It is a lounge that
it's not just, well, it's not Jersey Mike's.
no,
No.
It's
no,
not that we're selling subs only.
it's not Wild Bill's.
It's
No,
not Wild Bill's where you're just selling tobacco.
no,
That's right.
Your purpose for coming here tonight is not to discuss this is a cigar bar.
correct.
Your purpose here tonight is to talk about a liquor license.
And the whole, yeah, that is a part of the project.
Yeah, to support the establishment. Yeah, because frankly, the math doesn't work. If you can't, I mean, you could open a cigar lounge without liquor, but frankly, financially, the numbers just don't work. You need the incremental margin from selling liquor to support the establishment. And these lounges, I've been in, I don't know about many, probably 50 of these in my life, all around the country. And they're somewhat unique establishments, as Mr. Little was describing. They're very unique because they are cigar first, bar second, I guess is the way I would actually describe it. There typically someone isn't going to go into a cigar lounge just to have a drink. They could, and that happens. But in general, when someone comes into that establishment, they want to enjoy a cigar and they want to have a cocktail or a beer or a glass of wine or whatever.
Thank you so much. Do me a favor, you have participant. Do me a favor.
No,
just
your commissioner has.
Well, no, just because of the miking situation, when you're speaking, please come to the mic if you could, please.
You know, I have an answer.
Because this is all on record, so we wanted to all be on record. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
Okay, I have just a couple of questions. Are we talking about the property that's next to the brownfield, the depot site? No. No? Okay, I'm lost on where it is. It really doesn't matter.
It's,
It doesn't matter. But did I hear you say that you had to get a license for the cigars as well?
yes.
Okay. Now, I've never been in one, but I watched Love and Marriage Huntsville and I watched Black. And yeah, you look, I started to say, okay, Marcel. Anyway, and see where she at. Anyway, I think that with what we have going on, and there's not, some women smoke cigars too, or they just try to fit in with men. But I think our men in this community need a spot where they can gather and talk about the problems and the ills of our young men. I really do. I mean, I started to say something because when he said liquor, I'm like, we got a wine thing out here at the college, and we the great, state. And but I guess cigar ain't right without cognac. So I wouldn't know. I just listen to other people. But for that reason right there, I think the man in this community would have a nice mellow place to go away from the wives, girlfriends, whatever. And just have a nice mellow place to meet and conversate with one another. And I'm having a hard time breathing. And people with asthma, if you know that that's what they're doing in there, stay away.
Thank you, Commissioner.
But I would love to see.
Does anybody who has not commented have any other input, other things to say? Anybody who's not had a comment? Thank you, sir.
Sorry, speaking as a citizen now. I'm curious, so you mentioned that he mentioned that the property value with the liquor license is drastically increased. And so if the city helps with this process and the business does not do well, they still have that license and they have increased their property value. What does the city get out of that long term? As we already have numerous liquor licenses in the city, and that can be a contentious issue. Food for thought.
If I may, he just touched on something that I forgot. Can we put something in a contract, if it's granted, that if it folds, that they cannot utilize that liquor license anywhere else within the city limits of Benton Harbor?
Can't do that. Do me a favor, Commissioner, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep on Commissioner. City Manager Little.
Yes, what I wanted to say is that we have, in fact, Darren and I have been talking about this for some time, and I was conveying to him some of the concerns and issues that the commission and the city have been addressing. That we've had a problem with a lot of the licenses that have been bought from others outside of the community that has come into the city and service stations and other things that we are not wanting. But this is an opportunity for us to utilize the city's part in securing licenses to do the kinds of things that we want to happen. Such as this, or a restaurant, nice new restaurant that might come in. That hotel, when it gets going, may very well want a liquor license. And we will have the ability to help cause those to occur. And I say that this is a wise use of the authority that the city has in terms of helping to promote development and whatnot. Once again, this fits in very well with what we're talking about with the social district, with the hotel, with all the other things that are coming online that we have going on down here.
Thank you. Let me say something real quick here. I really don't have a problem with the smoking. Whatever people get off of golfing and doing whatever they got to do. But I do think that downtown Benton Harbor is overpopulated with liquor licenses. And after most liquor licenses are going for about $200,000 or $100,000 or something on the open market, is that kind of ballpark?
Anywhere from 100, I would say.
Anywhere from 100,000 to about 250,000. So that means that if you purchase one from somebody who already got one, that escrow somewhere at $100,000. You don't have to go through all that you're going through now. And that eliminates one that's already here. And I'm not legalizing anything or trying to localize anything, but if there's already some that's on the open market, as far as liquor licenses are concerned, we somehow got to eliminate some of these. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's too many liquor licenses that are up in the air. And so we grant you a liquor license and somebody says, okay, I'm gonna buy one out of escrow. There's already another liquor license there. Then they wanna buy another one because they just burned down this place over here. That's another liquor license that's in the air that can move somewhere else in Benton Harbor. And I'm not disputing the process of what you're trying to do. But I'm saying that just consciously, I think we need to find out how many liquor licenses we have right now in the city of Benton Harbor that are in use. How many that are in escrow? Because you have a family that's popping liquor stores up here, 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 and here that we told the state we don't want no more liquor licenses. So now if we go back to the state and say, we're okay with it, then how can we tell anybody else that we don't want them selling liquor? And then we're saying we support another liquor license. We passed a motion as a commission to say we did not want any more liquor licenses in the city of Benton Harbor. And by us saying that, are we stating that now we need more? Because that's what I'm hearing you say, City Manager Little, that when this hotel comes online, we want to give them one. Then if somebody pop up with a restaurant downtown, we want to give them one. Then we're saying with this new cigar bar, we're going to give them one. So how do we say to the gas station or the people selling chicken in the that we don't want you having one? I mean, I know it's a fine line and it's an elegant place and it's all this, but for these people talking about gentrification and all that other kind of stuff, then what we're saying now is that if it's upper echelon, you deserve, but if you're not on that status, then we don't want you having one. And that's kind of double-minded to me. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, I think you've probably forgotten about 3 months ago or so, you asked me to look into this situation. And I have been pursuing that to make sure I understood what the rules were. And in regard to what you just said, not necessarily upper echelon, what we're saying is we want liquor licenses for the things and the businesses that we as a city want in our town. That we still have a problem with the wholesale movement without even conferring with us of licenses purchased elsewhere and brought in the service stations and any place else that they can stick them in. And ultimately, it boils down to a question that we can't directly do anything yet about those in service stations and whatnot, although we're registering our concern about the problem. But we do at least have the ability to go forward with the things that we do want and that do benefit our city.
So my question becomes, and I hear you because I've asked you the question, but how do we regulate the fact of somebody else not being able to get another liquor license, and then we tell somebody else they can have? That's my only question.
We do it by helping the business that contributes to our development and our objectives, and they'll be able to get a liquor license at the state's rate. It won't cost $100,000 and it won't cost $150,000. We will not help somebody trying to get one to go into a service station. They may be able to get it, and they may have to pay $150,000 for it. But that's their problem, because we don't necessarily want that, so we don't really encourage our system.
What if it's a high-end gas station though?
Hey, no jokes.
The clerk,
So you asked how many liquor licenses were in the city. There's currently 25 active, 4 in escrow, and 1 conditional.
so you got 30 liquor licenses?
Correct.
And the limit is 13.
So you have, could you say that one more time?
There are 24 active, 4 in escrow, and 1 conditional.
Is there, do they have the addresses to them?
It's public. You can look it up on the Liquor Control Commission's website.
Can you print that out and give, can you send that in an email to us, please? Thank you. Go ahead, sir. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I think that's not apples to apples. See, liquor stores are selling packaged liquor. All right, you go in there, they buying fifths, they buying pints, they buying these things, right? We're not selling that. We're not trying to do that. I'm not asking to do that. What I am asking for is your assistance into helping me to develop a location that can become a destination location that where those individuals like myself, like the one city manager experience, can go in and enjoy themselves and have the opportunity to socialize and have conversations with other like-minded individuals. This is not the corner store. This is not the gas station. There is a difference. And to say there isn't is unjust. There's an absolute difference. Now, also, second piece, for some locations, they can be location specific. The ones that were brought in are a different classification. If you're on the website, they speak to that. They speak to different classifications of liquor license. Some are location specific. I can't just sell it to anybody. It's location specific. If I sell the building, if I sell the business, it's a part of it. The city benefits from that. It doesn't go away. I go away, but not the business, not the opportunity, not the destination.
Understood.
And more people paying for parking. But this right here, I get it.
We're talking about establishment, establishment. Those are not established establishments. but we have some of our people that have established themselves outside. But I don't see them establishing themselves outside of such an establishment like this and it being okay. And we have people that go to bigger cities, Sand City, Chicago, and they have these type of things. Of course, they're bigger, but as I stated before, I think that we need to set something to give these young men something else to see that socializing with one another. Man, let's go have a drink and a cigar. We can talk this out instead of.
As long as they're over 21.
Yeah, that part.
Commissioner Warren, then Commissioner Isom.
So this question is for Mr. Little through the chair. The first, actually it's two quick ones. The first one is, can you confirm what Mr. Smith has said is accurate, where the license would be destination specific? That's the first one. The second one is, if the city is going to help, can you just confirm that's given an okay? That's all we would do, or is there more entailed to the city helping get a license?
Basically, that's all we would do. There is a process, for example, using the Downtown Development Authority that can enable you to have additional licenses because it's promoting your economic development purpose of redeveloping your downtown. And we'll check on the location.
Yeah, I don't, is it part of the social district?
It's within the boundaries of the social district we're talking about.
So being that it's part of the social district, does it already mean that it's connected to it? As far as, can you extend the social district to a point to where, or it's already a part, or we have to make it a part?
It's already in the boundaries of the social district.
Commissioner Isom.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think it's a good idea. I got family members that come up from North Carolina, and they was telling me about this. He said, you need a cigar lounge. He bring big cigars. He paid good money for those cigars too. He kept telling me, so you need this, find us a building. We'll come up here and put one up here. I think it's a great idea, but I just asked to the chair, city manager, is that the same spot? Priority Health, putting that health is right there. The exercise, you said 120?
It's near it. Yeah, go ahead, if you will, tell them where it is.
It's 120 Water Street. It's Donnie Meeks' old building.
Yeah, and that's where it's the,
Exercise.
yeah. So will that still work? The outside gym?
Sure.
All right, good job, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Can we have one citizen in opposition?
Yeah, can you please come up so we can hear you, Mr. Duncan, please? Thank you.
You know I got to be in opposition to this. It's like opening up another dope house. You know, if I wasn't concerned about people with smoke, I lost my oldest brother. He served two tours in Vietnam, and he died of cancer. And it was actually Agent Green, Agent Orange, but they never diagnosed it like that. My main concern is all of you would think it's okay to smoke or to give somebody else something to smoke. Nobody else is going to do what I'm doing right now, so just take it out on me if you got a bad problem with it. I got broad shoulders and I can take it. Just a confined space in smoke is almost like instant death. You haven't mentioned anything about your air filtration system or anything. You just say, here's a room, here's a chair, sit down and smoke. Now I'm finished. That's all I had to say about it. You guys are gonna do what you wanna do anyway, because that's the nature of people can do anything they wanna do at any time.
Well,
Thank you.
it speaks of an air filtration system and them putting, some money into filtration of it. It talks about, roughly $550,000 for new roof, new electrical, plumbing, and HVAC systems.
Decarbonize it. Are we
Spent a
decarbonizing?
lot of money on buying that piece of property,
Are we decarbonizing?
$250,000 to buy the property. And, that's pretty much,
Uh,
you're gonna hire 3 to 5 employees. I don't know, are you guys planning on building up?
Not at the present time.
So that's a short roof on there, ain't it?
No, actually, it's when you go inside, it's probably a 14 to 15 foot roof on top.
It's probably about as high as this, maybe.
About as high as this, right?
Yeah, it's got a high ceiling. Just one comment on the ventilation. In this type of environment, this type of lounge, that's, luxury or however you want to describe it, the ventilation system is extremely critical. If you've been into these, and again, I've been in many of these, and there's a number of them I've been in, quite frankly, where the ventilation wasn't very good. And those places just aren't very nice. In this environment, one of the critical elements is having excellent ventilation. Now, it's still a smoking environment, but having the proper ventilation is very critical. So when you're sitting in that environment, you want to be comfortable. You don't want to be like, you think you're going to pass out any minute. So the ventilation system here, it's something we will spend considerable money on.
All right, my next question is parking. I know parking is there because you have the Opera Center, you have Princeton Place, you have Noble, you have all these other places. So where will you getting your parking from?
In the back, we're going to utilize city parking. Well, you have a reason to put another meter out back.
Well, is it going to be backdoor access then?
There will be.
Sure.
So people will be able to enter from the back.
They can.
And where would the parking be? I mean, I know what you're saying, that parking lot.
Yes.
But if you're open at the same time as everybody else, I don't want, and I'm not saying this, if you have other businesses there. But, I mean, after you come out the luxury place with the drink and the cigar, I mean, where do you go from there? I mean, how do you get, you gonna navigate back? Is the front gonna be closed or the front's gonna be
No,
open?
it'll be open too. Ideally, they'll may have to walk around, but because it's downtown and because of the city parking, they have to, you get in where you fit in. But there's more than adequate parking.
I wish we'd had this conversation probably about a month ago before we voted on putting the exercise equipment right there next door.
Where you put the exercise equipment?
In the
It's
grassy
gonna be
lot.
right there,
In that grassy lot.
literally next door to where you at.
With ventilation, the way this thing is venting, you will never know.
Well, I'm not talking about ventilation. I'm talking about access. Because we're telling people you can exercise there. Now we're telling people bring your cigars and, come get your cognac, which I don't have a problem with whatever y'all doing.
Yeah.
But where are they gonna park at?
There'll be space between.
It might be an overload, but hey.
But that's a nice problem for the city to have.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
That's a great thing.
And if I could say one thing,
Yes, sir.
Pro Tem, let's not forget that we have authorized already, but not in use, a license for a consumption lounge under the marijuana thing.
And we plan on using it.
And at any point in time, somebody could come in and also request a license for that consumption lounge, which The only difference is they would not be allowed to have liquor because it's in the law that they couldn't, but they would have basically a similar type of thing. And there are rules in it regarding the,
Minority.
air handling system, being able to take it up, that you not be able to even smell it within a certain distance and so forth. So it's not like this is a totally foreign new idea. I think this will be good for the city. As far as the exercise lounge, there's enough
No, the
space.
exercise equipment.
The exercise equipment. There's enough space there, between them where the one has no impact on the other.
You put a
Now,
big window right
let me say this for the record. City manager didn't mean to say the exercise lounge.
Right.
I meant to say the exercise equipment. I don't want them coming trying to do liquor license too.
Although that's an interesting concept, I mean, we could build it in there. You think that'll work?
Mr. Sam Williams, and, we're gonna.
Then I'm leaving. I gotta go pick up my grandson. But the environmental health, they'll have to deal with them. That's gonna take care of the ventilation system. And then Michael Jordan, he played the whole game and got through and smoked a cigar. Everybody happy.
Michael Jordan's investing in this too, man. That's a good thing.
Yeah, if you have his number, let us know.
Well, do we have a consensus to move this forward?
Yes,
Sure.
I'm sure.
All right, we're gonna move this forward.
All right,
Thank you to the
yeah.
So,
gentleman.
Chair, do you have a whole lot more information? Because we don't have anything. I'm just sitting over here fuming.
Well,
Because
city
I don't have
manager,
any information. Do you have some information?
do you have a card?
No. I'm asking you through the chair. Will you,
You asking me through the chair? Okay.
I'm asking you, the chair.
Okay.
Do you guys have information there that we don't have?
Yeah, right. You have this?
No.
Well, make sure that we
No,
all,
no.
the body has
You
it.
give this to
No, I don't need it. Just make sure we all have it.
Email.
So we'll be able to formulate
you don't
something.
have this, Mr. Isom? Do you have any extra copies of those citizens?
No, we just sitting out here mad.
Yeah, I didn't know how many we need. We brought like 9 copies. I think we probably ran through them.
Can you email this? Would they get this email tonight, so by Monday they don't have a
I
problem?
can get it tomorrow morning.
Bless your heart.
If I can get an email, I can email it to you, then we can disseminate it.
Tonight?
Yeah, or give it to me. I can do it.
All right, well, this meeting has been eventful. I do appreciate it.
Public comment?
No, that's it.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys for
Yeah,
coming.
we appreciate your time.
We'll see you on Monday. Is this Monday coming? No, next Monday. So in 2 weeks, we'll see you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good day. Thank you. Public comments, and then we'll go, is that it?
No, that's it.
That's it.
Commissioner Adams has public comment.
You all know that there's been a lot of talk about Justice 40 funds and working with communicating with city manager interim Little with the hopes that modern plastics is about to become a thing that we can clean up. I mean, if we start now, or if we don't start now, when? The CHIP Act funds, there was a lot of discussion about it today during Vice President Harris's touring. And it was amazing that some people in Saginaw are benefiting it, they're supporting the opponent, that don't realize that Biden's CHIP Act is benefiting them and they don't even know it. But it's to create manufacturing jobs, training. So please, pro tem seats, as Economic Development Chair, don't let this opportunity slip by us.
That's right.
Thank you.
I'm dear friends with the mayor of Saginaw, and I will be in contact with her to get some more information on what you're speaking of. I do appreciate it. Nobody else has any public comments. the 7:30 is the deadline of my meeting. All right. Anybody else? Nobody else? Hearing none, thank you, Co-Chair Warren, and thank you, City Manager Little, for your time, and to everybody else who came. Thank you. Trust the process. God bless, and expect great things.